Hey crew! Another episode of Creating You in the Universe with Leah and Sandra. Welcome, welcome, welcome.
Today we got Maya.
We got a little visitor.
Baby Maya.
Because she's teething.
If you could see her facial expression, it looks like this.
That's what I'm getting. Anyways. Okay.
Today on the episode, we are filming. It is late August 2023. And this subject Sandra has brought forth to talk about because she feels it's really relevant it is really relevant, not just she feels. How the universe talks to you, how the universe maybe even speaks through you. That's what we're talking about today on the episode.
Yeah. For those of you who don't know, there's some worldly stuff starting to rise
in the consciousness.
Consciousness. People are getting antsy. Anxiety is starting to take over.
In relation to a lot of the stuff that you saw in 2020, without using words that could get us censored.
Yeah. 2019, 2020, 2021. There's a lot of things being talked about that are coming forthcoming again.
Rippling through the internet.
The deja vu, so to speak. Let's just say that. Deja vu events. So yeah, I reached out to Leah and I said we need to do one specifically about what it looks like when the universe is talking to you directly. First question I have for the audience is, do you actually believe that you are spoken to from the universe?
Sorry.
So
I think even before we go there, let's start with an intent.
Yes, the good old intention. My intention is for anyone coming across this, past, present, or future, to understand that the universe does talk to you and learn how that works in your world, how it communicates with you, and so it gives you that peace of mind and clarity that we all seek, as well as always sprinkled with love, laughter, and abundance. Yeah, I think that's it.
Okay, beautiful. So, do I believe the universe speaks to me? We will try. We will see if we can work. Do I feel like the universe speaks to me? Yes. I find the universe can speak to me in many ways. Ways that I didn't realize the universe or God was talking to me until after I got maybe some more formal training and entertained these ideas a little deeper. Things like animals. Today I was listening on my way here, a podcast about animals, totems. I don't know why. That's what I felt like listening to today. So an animal crosses your path, or maybe you have a repeating something happen. Sometimes I find animals can be messengers, and to me that's the universe or God, this co-creation of communication to help with guidance on my way. So that's one way. I feel like there's been times when I'm journaling, when I'm writing, there is a different energy and flow. And I haven't journaled like that we're probably getting close to a couple decades. But when I was going through hard times as a young teen, even a tween, like that's really when I started to journal. It's almost like I can tune back into this feeling. It's coming through you different. There's an energy, there's a flow. It's like you can sense the words or some sort of communication exiting on the pen with such ease.
So journaling, just so for people who don't know, is when, correct me if I'm wrong, there's a bunch of different terminology for it. Free writing, journaling, where you just get a pad of paper and a pen and you just put it down and you ask a question. Or it doesn't have to even be a question, it could just be, and then all of a sudden you will get this urge to start writing out?
For me, it was very much a diary. It was a diary. It was unloading feelings. It was writing things out so that it was outside of my inner dialogue. And it was like, once I allowed that to be spoken out, you know, that full circle, it's like an in-breath and an out-breath, something returned. And it was just insight, and it felt so, it was so wise. And it felt like I would impress myself when I write, you know? Like, that's not just...
That's how you know it's the university.
Yeah.
Wow. That doesn't sound like me. I would never have thought to say that. Yeah.
So for me, it very much was just writing a diary. And so as I got older, I think it did get more intentional with writing specific questions.
When I've done it, I have asked a specific question, and it's weird. It's weird. It's going to come across as being weird until you get used to it. Mm-hmm. Your writing, my writing, in the response actually looks different than my writing my question.
Oof. I'm having flashes back to this journal because I actually only got rid of it in the garbage this year, like a few months ago. But this journal was with me from grade 6 to like early high school. And lots of different styles of writing, even in the same nights. It looked like there was multiple personalities coming out on that paper.
And you can tell the difference between, so some people might take that and then go, oh, and then start like writing really weird and alienish. No, you can just feel, like you said, there's just a feel, there's just a feeling of a different, like, flow, as you said there.
Yeah, it's an energy. It's a vibe.
It's a vibe. So, next question. Do you hear voices in your head?
Yeah. So my teacher, clairaudience.
Yeah.
Clairaudience, just like there's clairvoyance, that's probably more commonly heard, clear vision, psychic seeing. Clairaudience is psychic hearing. All of your senses that you have, sights, feeling, knowing, all of that can also be psychic. And so I absolutely feel like there's an inner dialogue that is slightly different than whatever you're thinking about dinner in your checklist in your mind.
Yeah, right. So a lot of people, like, do you actually hear a voice in your head? Like you said, it's a different tone, or it's different than going, oh, what... Say out loud, what do I have to do today? And then say it in your head. Can you hear that voice? Some people, actually, it's been proven, don't have that voice. And that's okay. I don't
They are called NPCs.
Oh,
no, I'm just kidding.
Some people don't have that. And is that just a teaching that needs to happen to you in order to hear that? I believe so. I believe that's just... what am I trying to say here?
I think...
It's a weird energy today, so you have to just excuse me.
Well, we haven't filmed in a while. It's been a hot minute.
For a while. It's getting back in the groove of things. I see comments coming through, but then I was distracted.
It's Messenger.
Oh, okay.
So, psychic senses. I feel like there are certain senses... like hearing that came later. There's some psychic senses that were stronger than others, but I do believe with practice and having faith in what you're receiving, those senses become clearer and clearer. But if you're constantly doubting those messages coming in, it gets wish-wash.
This fly, it's every time we're filming. I kid you not. Right, so does everyone have those senses? Does everyone have psychic senses?
Can everyone? I believe yes.
I believe yes.
Because I know for myself, smell. That's also one of the senses that can be psychic.
Yeah, my daughter's got that.
I was not somebody that had that until a few years of really delving into this type of work, this intuitive work, working with clients. And all of a sudden it was almost like an introduction. We've talked before about that inner voice. It's like, you should grab the umbrella, and you don't listen to it, and it happens every time that you needed to listen to that voice, and you're like, dang it, I thought of that.
I literally had that happen last night. we were going to a dentist appointment, and I saw the bottles, the refill bottles, and the pulse said, you need to put those in the car. I thought, no, because we're going to be in the south, we won't have time. The one that we do that at is over here. My husband, we get in the car and he goes, well, let's just go over by our house. And we end up going to this exact store that I needed the bottles. And I was like, are you serious?
Yeah.
And it's so frustrating when you know you should have listened. Because
to that voice.
At this point in time, when you've done this for as long as we have, you don't question it. But we still do.
But we do.
We're
like,
the human experience of like,
is the fire hot? Is the fire hot? I'm gonna touch it. Yeah, the
I can only
fire's
imagine
hot.
what our personal guides and the universe must think about us sometimes.
I think mine smokes weed. No, I'm just kidding. So for me and
they have to. They must. Not for you, but for just like it must be so frustrating. But then is it? Because their whole purpose is
humor.
to connect to us to experience, and so they experience within the experience what it feels like to have been told something and not comply or not do it, and then feel what it feels like to have not listened. So they're getting that too, which is a huge mind I can't say that word. Mind explosion. Yeah. For those of you just listen, what was that?
So these senses, these ways that the universe, a greater energy outside of yourself, start to talk are little subtle things. And as you trust and have faith, those things get bigger and bigger. So for smell, for me, that I did not have before, all of a sudden in a 3-month, time period, I'm starting to smell. This is going to sound basic, but like what we're going to eat for dinner.
Yeah.
And I don't even know that we're going to dinner somewhere. It's just like, I smell chicken wings.
Yeah.
And I'm like, wow, chicken wings sounds amazing. And maybe it was manifestation, but the point is, these things kept on happening where I'm like, but I'm in my car. There's no chicken wings. I'm not driving by anywhere. It's just this flash that you smell. And so later on, we get this random invites to come over for dinner, and lo and behold, what are they making for us but that thing that I smelled? So I felt like this was an introduction of awareness, of feeling vulnerable, of, wow, I feel really silly for feeling like I can smell chicken wings in my van, and then having these things kind of strengthen over time.
How many times have you been, I see this all the time on social media, and every time I have to comment because it is so important, and if people think I'm crazy for saying it, I don't care. That's not my business what you think about me. So how many times have you been in a room and you're walking past something and all of a sudden your pocket like catches on a drawer or a door handle and it holds you back, and then you're like, what the, right? How many times has that happened? Has that ever happened to you?
Yeah.
What do you think that is?
Well, I'll take it as a message. What's holding you back?
You take it what's holding you back. Another thing that could be happening is that, it's trying to get your attention for something. Either you're in a funk and it needs you to pay attention. There's been times where it's happened, and it's happened not once, not twice, but 3 times in a row in a 15-minute period. That's really them. Hey, I need you to focus. You need to pay attention to something right now. Could also be not being able to find your keys. Not your situation, but not being able to find your keys, and you're running late. And how many times have you heard there's an accident that would have happened? And if you were in that exact moment at that exact time, right? The universe is always talking in some fashion or form. So the whole point of today's episode is, how do they talk? What does it feel like? And as we've said, there's so many different ways. Always we're going to reach out and say, if you need to talk to us personally and need help guiding or being told how to do that in a much greater level, we're always here. Whether you need a thought amnesia method or
some one-on-one together to develop those senses within you.
Yeah, we all have them. I believe we're all capable of receiving them. It's just a matter of, are you so busy listening and watching what's going on in the planet, or can you use what's happening in the planet to turn in and say, what's going on? What should I do?
Navigating and discerning for you what feels right with the messages you are receiving beyond what fear-mongering might be happening around you. Or sometimes it's indoctrination that's happening around you.
Sometimes you need to shut off all
Yeah.
forms of communication and go to the biggest communication, which is inside. We have these pulsates. We have this vast knowing. We are attached, not even connected to. That's something that I've been working on. We are attached, like a Siamese twin or
There is no
conjoined
separation.
twin. There's no separation. You share out one heart together.
We're-
The difference is
we're cut
you
from the
don't
same
share
cloth.
two brains. They can see all, know all. You can experience all. That's the only thing that separates you. Everything else is the only other thing is you're of flesh and they're of spirit. You can't see
Spirit,
them.
frequency, lights.
Frequency, whatever that is, but they are from here all the way down, connected.
And when you say
You
they, you
together-
mean like your team, your guides, your angels, whatever you want to
Universe,
call
source,
them.
God,
Yeah.
Buddha,
So
whoever
in
it is that you insert your belief system here.
in lots of religions, there's different ways to word this. Religions, like one of them is causal level, is we're all one, that oneness. And then if you go down another level, astral, it's more, there's a little bit more of a definition, separation. We're still in that spirit realm of connection. And then if you go down and individualize it even further, there's the physical level. So that's one way of kind of breaking it down in, like, we're all still part of the same cloth. It's
Oh.
just what you're tuning into.
The other piece is when you realize that there is nothing but you and everything is you and you are God and you are the universe. But that's too big of a jump for your belief system right now. So that's why we start here.
For some people, yeah.
For some people. Some people are already on that page. Some people have a lot of belief systems that block that, which is fine. We're here to help you and give you those tools that will help you through that. Just know that the universe is constantly talking to you, whether it's something that's happening in the world that your anxiety level and your worry level has gone through the ceiling because you don't know, oh, here we go again, I don't know what's happening. You are feeling those feelings, and I can't stress this and specify this enough. You are feeling anxiety, overwhelmment, worry, because what is true and what you're thinking is true are not the same frequency. They're not the same thing. So when you feel that over anxiety, that everything's going wrong, oh my God, we're going through this again, all this stuff, that is literally in that moment, and this is going to prove it a lot to you guys, that is universe talking directly through you to you, saying what you're thinking right now is not true. What you're thinking right now is not true. And that's them saying, every time you're like, oh, but what about this? What you're thinking about is not true. Oh my God, this is what you're thinking about is not true. And that's why you feel that. You feel, oh, it's like
It doesn't land in your body because it's not supposed to.
Yeah.
It's not landing in a place that feels safe because those are, I want to say, imprints. Someone's trying to imprint a truth on you and your body's like, that's not real.
That's not true. Yeah, 100%. So does the universe talk to you? Every single moment of every single day. You could ask a question and that question must be answered, and it comes from a higher self. Just like you were starting to say, there's times where you're driving the car and it will literally say to you, go this way. And you're going to go, I thought I should go that way. And then all of a sudden you'll be like, but I don't know, that seems like a really backwards way to go. I don't think GPS is working today. What's going on with this? My phone is, I'm just going to go this way because this is the way I go. The universe already told you, because it can tell that there's a car accident over there, or there's a train that stopped, and now, when the train stops and then it starts and then it stops and you're just like, are you serious? Yeah, the universe already saw that. I knew that you had to get to an appointment at this particular time. You were already running a little bit late. It was going to give you the detour. It gave you the detour and you didn't listen to it. So how do we listen more clearly?
To me, it comes back to having faith. To follow the voice inside your head. In all seriousness, it's the practice.
Practice.
It seems faint at first. The more
It's very
that you
quiet at first.
the more you practice receiving what you did receive, the louder things become.
So what's something that you can do in your life that will give you that practice? What's something that if it happened, it didn't, if it didn't, it's not going to ruin your day. It's not going to make any difference. Sorry. Not going to make any difference. So the universe, or the universe, the movie, The Secret, as much as everyone, either likes that or hates that movie, they did a very good job of the very beginner steps of how to communicate. They left a bit out, obviously, because then they could get you with the sequel and the next product and the next product, but that's fine. It gave you a very good indicator. So the universe is always pulsating to you. I lost my train of thought.
The universe, the secret, listening,
The secret.
how can you
secret.
do...
The secret always starts you off with the cup of coffee. Attract a cup of coffee today. So I want you to Abraham talks about segment intending. The universe talks about manifesting. There's a bunch of different words. How do you attract a cup of coffee today? Take something so small that really, if it happened, you would kind of pay attention, but you'd be like, okay, that wasn't me. Say cup of coffee. Instead of working on how to bring yourself a cup, like how to manifest a cup of coffee, practice asking the question, universe, source, insert whatever you believe here. Show me and tell me how to get a cup of coffee today. And then listen. Does that make sense? So something small, but instead of manifesting it, what is manifestation? Manifestation is when
It's
it
like
comes
a drawing,
into your,
yeah.
you draw it to you. Ask for help how to get it, and say, I'm ready to listen for the instructions. And when you hear the universe, like you said, I'm
giggling because I'm like, I just asked in my head, universe, show me how to win the lottery.
Yeah. Well, that's the next piece I was gonna come with. So the thing about it is when you first listen, they're very quiet. Because the thing about it is here's the mind boggle, or whatever you want to say. They're actually not quiet. They're actually very loud, very precise. The thing about it is that you'll come across as being very quiet to you because you're not used to listening to it. And you've got all this other jargon that's so loud. Social media. What am I going to do after supper? I'm fighting with that person. Blah, blah, blah. So this sounds really small in comparison. And this sounds really loud. And it is. So what you're going to do is we're going to teach you how to move from this to amplify this and quiet this, which is a very big task for most of you, especially if you live on social media and you can't go without it, and you've got all this anxiety and you've got all these things going on. That's going to be this loud and this is going to be this loud, and we're going to teach you how to do this so that this becomes really loud and this becomes really quiet. Winning the lottery.
So if you're listening, Sandra had her hands up, almost like a scale. Mm-hmm. Tipping the scales is basically when she was saying this.
Right. Winning the lottery. A lot of people, that was the next thing, is people start with a cup of coffee in the universe. This is in the secret. They start with a cup of coffee. They also start with the parking spot. Who can manifest the perfect parking spot? We've talked about this on another episode. But the moment that doesn't happen and you're not in alignment with it, it doesn't happen at least once or twice or after 3 times, you go to, what do you do? What does a normal person do?
This doesn't work.
This doesn't work.
Scoff at it.
Doesn't work. That doesn't work for anything. Lottery winnings Could it happen for that? Could you get the lotto winning number? Absolutely. What are the chances, do you think, are if you're not even listening to the universe on a daily level, that all of a sudden you're going to tune in and hear the lotto numbers? What do you think the chances of that happening are? High or low? The other piece of it is your belief system, which is where Thought Amnesia came in, because fundamentally, if you don't believe that you're going to win the lottery, you'll never win the lottery. And also, there's the other half of that, whereas if you don't believe that you're worthy or whatever to have money or things, as soon as you get money, it's like sand through an hourglass. It just comes out. Why? Because you have a fundamental belief underneath it all that you can't hold on to money, you can't attract money, you can't do anything. If it comes, it goes out faster than when it came. A lot of winners, and that is just proven. A lot of winners lose it faster than they ever have before, and they're often in dire needs or worse off conditions than when they got it. Why? Because they had a fundamental belief underneath it all that not having it, or rich people are snotty or evil, or there's something that goes against you.
Full circle.
Yeah. So you cannot ask the universe for something like that in which differs from your beliefs. However, we can teach you how to do that over time. Start with the small things. Start with learning how to hear them. There's a difference between listening and hearing. Learn how to listen, learn how to hear.
And hearing isn't necessarily a voice. Hearing can be a visual.
Yeah, some people will see
or
it.
a feeling inside your body. So when I visualize, I ask the question, how do I win the lotto? Because I felt closer on my progress. Normally, I never, ever, ever, ever buy my whole life lotto tickets. Mm-hmm. But I've been playing with it since we started filming and you asked me to buy one. Yeah. And so I felt like I was feeling a shift, and it showed up in my winnings. I still felt like I was winning. Was it exactly what I was going for? Not yet, but when I asked, put the question just flat out, show me how did you word that, Sandra? How to receive and do this. Is that what the question is?
How do I hear you give me the answer to, the winning lotto tickets, or that's such a massive big one.
Well, see, for me,
but for you, if you're on a different level.
So it didn't come through as a voice. It came through showing me what to channel to feel in my body. So just like you remember sad times and all of a sudden you're feeling sad, you can remember good times, and there's a whole plethora of feelings in your whole human life that you can pull on. And so I was shown a feeling in my body, right, and I was shown a visual of what to do.
Show me what I need to do to win the lottery.
Exactly. Yeah. And so I was shown instantly. Yeah. And it was a visual and it was a feeling to channel. And so that's how it was for me. For you, it might be a voice. It might be just this aha idea in your head. And keep listening and honoring what you're receiving. It can feel very vulnerable. Like when you were doing, for all of you healers or intuitives who know you're intuitive, it can be very vulnerable sharing with a client for the first time, this is what I received. Mm-hmm. It was an animal, or for me, it was telling people about past lives. Mm-hmm. This is what I saw in a past life. This is what happened. This is how you died. This is the feeling it gave me. This is why I think it's relevant in this lifetime. Mm-hmm. That is such a vulnerable thing.
Oh, yeah.
To go off. It feels like you're jumping off the diving board and you're just hoping you know how to swim because you're already jumped, right? And so, of course, you know how to swim. Otherwise, you wouldn't go off the diving board. Yeah. Yeah. But the point is, you know what?
Being vulnerable.
Being vulnerable.
Listening. Asking. Ask the question.
Yes.
So you could use it for, I feel like you were losing your train of thought.
Yes. Go forward with what you receive, even if it feels like silly or like you're being vulnerable within yourself.
It is a big vulnerability. Going from trusting that these people know everything and they know what's best for you, to going
These
into
people,
knowing
as
that
in
you're
outside
the one,
sources, your teachers, your government
anything
officials,
anything that's
news,
of authority, right?
Education.
Right. Going into learning that you have the answers, and this massive
The answers and
energy,
authority.
have the ability to come to you directly is a huge mind shift completely.
It's power.
It's power.
And that's what powers that be, that have manipulated
Right now,
serfs forever.
they don't want you to know that.
That is...
Who does humanity become when we understand that we
power.
have the power within
Yes,
us?
such a power. And that's why the news is there. That's why these outside distractions are there. Because it does feed into an energy. Everything is energy.
Yeah.
And you can either feed that energy into your power, your knowing, your authority, your sovereignty, or you can feed that power into giving it away. Either way, it's an energy.
Giving it. You're giving it 100% every day, 365, 24/7. You're giving your power. You're giving it to them, or you're giving it to you. Because you have it. It's like the sun coming up. The sun coming up, the moon, like it happens whether you believe it or not. So I know I wish I knew this. Well, I did know this. I fought it.
I've gone through waves of fighting, whatever, denying it. For me, it's a denial. I think for a lot of people, it's denial.
It's denial. It's like, it feels like witchcrafty. It feels like it's too good to be true. It feels like it's
to me, as we're speaking,
a fantasy.
As we're speaking, I hear ancestral wounds. We have been programmed through our DNA because ancestral wounds stick with us very, very, very long time. Whether it's mice or humans, it's proven now that your ancestors' wounds carry forward, and every one of us probably have an ancestor somewhere that was burned at the stake for what they believe, who was possibly killed. Like, just if we're going on the indigenous side, that wasn't that long ago that we're told to hush up or you will be persecuted for being you and practicing what is innately true for you. It's not an accident. So I do feel like some of that denial or that fear comes from someplace very primal, and it is a reprogramming, because just even though it's in our DNA, just like cancer can be, like an expression of cancer can be happening, illness, whatever, in our DNA, these genes can also be switched off. So it is 100%. A reprogramming, and the more you have faith, the more you practice you are putting into practice those messages you received after you were asked to be shown how to do it, the more that these things will become easier to quiet or completely get rid of altogether, like in thought amnesia, or whatever you're doing.
Working one-on-one with somebody. What would your life look like if you didn't have any questions anymore?
I feel very much at peace. When you say that, I just think of a peaceful place.
So the first thing that I guarantee you just popped up, because I could just feel it, literally, is, well, wouldn't that be boring? Like, what do you mean there'd be no questions anymore? Like, what would that...
To me, I thought of like
weird.
when you die.
Right. So when I say that there's no more questions anymore, do you believe that you will ever go through this life without having questions?
I feel like maybe we're getting really deep and philosophical here. It makes me question that being part of the human experience.
Right.
If you didn't have questions, how could you develop and work through karma or whatever you're doing on this earthly plane?
100%. So when I say that, I'm not meaning that you're never going to have a question and need to find the answer. You're always going to question, because the same way that people, when they do attract things to them, what's the first thing that they want? They always want more. We are humans who seek knowledge and seek, what's the word I'm looking for? Fulfillment in experience. And so your questions are never going to be gone. However, what would your life be like with the questions that have been like this?
And Sandra's making like a hamster wheel kind of motion with her hands.
Be gone. so that new questions could come, and new knowledge, and new growth, and new paths. What would that life be like?
Oh, I'm guessing it's different than whatever you're living. Completely different. Because
How many people ask the same question over and over? Like literally, how many people are living in a Groundhog Day effect? Yeah. Everyone who just is tuning in can feel that answer. I felt it. Did you feel it? The answer is too many. What would your life be like if you weren't on a hamster wheel anymore? And that when you asked a question, it was answered. And then gave you the guidance in how to answer that question and how to move on that path. How do I get the job that I want? Universe, show me how I can get the relationship that I want. Universe, show me how to get Universe, show me how to pass this test that I want to pass. Universe, show me how to get 80% on this test that I want to write. Right?
Mm-hmm. So these are all great starting points for really listening to the messages you receive from God, from the universe, from source, whatever you want to call it, from your guides, those psychic senses. Basically practice. Keep practicing, putting into practice what you see, what you receive, what you feel, what you hear. These are all the ways to help strengthen and affirm your inner knower, your inner knowing, the person who has all the answers within, because we do. If there was a cloth, we're all cut from the same one. Our hearts know the answer, before we even can articulate the answer with our mouth. So it might be a funneling in, and at first the funnel might feel like we're funneling molasses, but it's still coming through. And as you let the floodgates open, that funnel is like, water. It's just flowing like a spring. Where does waters from springs come from? That's another good metaphor of water all over the earth.
A good one to start with, and we'll leave you on this one, is universe, show me or tell me how to have a good day today. And see what pops up in your mind, and then at the end of the day, go, did it work or didn't it? And if it didn't, then ask again tomorrow. And you keep asking the same question until you get the answer. Because the answer is given every single time. It's just a matter of, are you listening?
I'm shushing my baby.
All right. We'll see you next time. Thank you for tuning in, and be blessed as always. Love you lots.